My name is Artem. I was renting an apartment in an old concrete building on the outskirts of the city. It was cheap, old, and I didn't care. I worked night shifts and slept during the day. All I needed was a roof over my head. Everything was fine for the first couple of weeks. But then, I started noticing little things. Small details that didn't sit right. For example, I clearly remember leaving my mug on the kitchen table, but later I'd find it in the sink. Or I'd turn on the kettle, but later it would be empty, even though I was sure I filled it. One day I woke up and saw that my towel in the bathroom was wet, even though I hadn't used it. I brushed it off, thinking I just forgot. But then I noticed the soap in the dish had been moved, like someone had used it. I started getting nervous. I lived alone. I was the only one with a key. The next day, I left a strand of hair across the kitchen cabinet handle. My little test. When I came back from work, the hair was gone. I placed some objects at odd angles. They had been moved. Someone was in my apartment. I changed the lock. Even installed a cheap camera from AliExpress, pointed at the front door. A week passed, nothing. I began thinking I was losing my mind. And then, one night I heard footsteps. In the kitchen. Not loud ones. Slow. If it weren't for the silence, I wouldn't have noticed. I lay there, holding my breath. Then something fell, the sound of a mug. I grabbed my phone, turned on the camera, and slowly walked toward the kitchen. No one. But the cabinet above the stove was slightly open. I always keep it closed. And in the sink was my clean plate with leftover scrambled eggs. I hadn't cooked eggs. The next morning I checked the camera footage. And it was erased. The file was there, but wouldn't open. I didn't delete it. I contacted my landlady. She said there were no other keys, and she was just as surprised. I told her I wanted to move out. She was silent for a few seconds, then quietly said, "You're not the first to say that. The guy before you also left suddenly. Said he was scared because every night he heard someone breathing in the hallway." I packed my things that very night and stayed at a friend's place. 2 days later, I returned to grab the rest of my stuff. Before leaving, I decided to check the cabinets one more time, just in case. Something felt off. I opened the same cabinet above the stove and saw a hole in the back panel, like an air vent, narrow, but a thin person, could squeeze through it. I felt physically sick. I don't know if he's still there, but whoever it was never broke in through the door. He lived with me, in the walls, in the passages, in the shadows. Now I check every cabinet, vent, and crawl space in every place I live, because I know he's still out there. I once again left an open plate of food, and in the morning it was gone. And this is in my new apartment.